Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Oh my Lord, expand for me my chest, ease my task for me, and remove the impediment from my speech so they may understand what I say. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل الله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Verily, all praises for Allah, we praise and seek His aid, and whomsoever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can guide. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a slave and messenger. To proceed. Today we want to talk about subhanAllah. I had so many different topics I wanted to talk about, and it was yesterday one of the coaches, Dr. Tahmina, she was just texting me, and just while she was texting me, just realized that tonight is the 27th of Rajab, and the significance of tonight. I mean, I know there's ikhtilaf, there is a difference of opinion amidst ulama exactly which night it was, but a majority of scholars do state that it was on the 27th of Rajab. So tonight was a night when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would ascend into the heavens, would go meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Though we don't make this a day of celebration, but it's a day of significance, or a night of significance that is very important for us. And why was it, why have we, why have we made this so significant? Why was this night so significant for us as Muslims? So important to understand, because it is so crucial for us to understand what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went through, and then what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Verily with hardship comes ease. It was like, a journey of a lifetime. This is a journey that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made. If you think about that journey, it's like surreal. It's, for that time, traveling was such a big thing. Traveling was the thing that they had to do. It was so hard. We jump on a plane, we get jet lag, we find it difficult, but we get from A to Z, or A to B in no time, subhanAllah. For them was a month or so journey. If you want to go to Jerusalem now, if you want to go to from Mecca to Jerusalem to Al-Aqsa now, by plane, few hours, subhanAllah. Yet that time it was weeks and weeks of journey on hardship. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made that journey in one night. So before we come to that, before we come to this journey, and I'm going to go over this journey very briefly, girls, because I'm to give you the story of the Isra wa Mi'raj as it happened. We'll be here until tomorrow, inshallah. So, and the significance of it just goes, it's beyond our imagination. How amazing, how tough, how amazing, and how, inspiring this journey was, and how important it was for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and us as well as Muslims. So, starting with where all this was happening, why all this was happening. The Muslims, they were going through so much hardship. They were going through so much hardship, subhanAllah. They were being tortured. They were going through things that we can't imagine. Alhamdulillah, we've got Islam at our fingertips. We have Islam so easily given to us. We can pray openly. We can go to the masjid. We can pray in our homes. We can wear a hijab. Yes, there might be difficult times, more internally than externally. they struggled the external difficulty the most from their own people. Imagine the people that were their own flesh and blood were the ones that were torturing them, to the extent that it got worse and worse and worse. And now they were just getting hostile, and they started this this boycott. And this boycott was about that all the other clans. So anyone who's done the Seerah and who's seen how the Seerah works, how the Quraysh worked, they were actually relatives. They were blood relatives. They were married into each other's family. Your auntie was so-and-so's wife, and so-and-so's child was maybe from another clan, but they were related to you through your auntie or your uncle or something. So it was like it's like a web, and the whole entire Quraysh were multiple times blood relatives over and over again. And these were the people who were attacking them. These were the people who were boycotting them. These were the people who were stopping any transaction, who were letting them starve, letting the Sahabis radiallahu anhum starve. Why? Because of the Iman. And the condition, we'll let you go. Everyone can be free. Just give us Muhammad. That's it. Give us Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they did not give him up. Even Abu Talib, he was not even a Muslim, he supported Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he convinced his tribe to stay with Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is just assuming that you know the story. So they went through hardship upon hardship. This was a time where you can imagine they were going through, they were wealthy. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we remember that his wife, she was one of the most richest women in Mecca. Your business couldn't help you now. Your money couldn't help you now. There was no business. Even if you have 1,000 camels, you've got no one to trade with. Your business is going to die. You're going to end up eating those camels. And then what? For 3 years, this had happened. Their own people were hurting them. Their own people were torturing them. Their own people were listening to the cries of the children, the women. They were crying and they were going through so much. And their own people were listening to this. Their own people are listening. This was a valley not far out. It's not a valley not far out of Makkah. So when the children and the babies and the women are crying from hunger, their people could hear them. And this carried on for 3 years, and they ate from the leaves of the trees. SubhanAllah, this is, and if you go through the ahadith, SubhanAllah, I have not come across many ahadith about the boycott. If that was us going through 3 years of boycotting, starvation, our children crying and crying and crying, we would call it like this would be the headlines on every day. For the rest, forget the rest of our lives. Generations to come, this would be the thing that we would make the most important part of our lives. But the Sahabis, they did not, go on and on about it. The hadith are very little in number regarding what happened in the boycott, during the time of the boycott. There are hadith, but from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, he rarely complained. And it shows us how beautiful his patience was, that in the moment of hardship, he had ease. Inna ma'al usri yusra. In the moment, when you're connected with Allah, no matter how much that moment of hardship is, when you're connected with Allah, the ease will come. So I was giving this example to my Seerah students a few weeks back, that there's sometimes you go, like you meet people and they're going through something that's quite traumatic, like they've lost parents, and you're feeling it, you're really feeling it, and you phone them up, and how are you? Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. I'm making du'as for my parents, saying Jannah, and then you think, wow, subhanAllah, they're so strong. And you know what? Alhamdulillah, just keep them in your du'as. I'm making du'as for them, and you hear the strength in them because they have found their peace with Allah. They have found that connection with Allah. And we aspire to be in that mind frame, to be with Allah at every moment. To grieve, we need to grieve. We need to feel the pain, but then with the pain, that usri is there, that usr is there, that pain is going to be there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acknowledges it, but He reminds us that with that hardship is ease. The ease is there. If we're connected with Allah, we can find that, inshallah. So very soon after the boycott ended, assuming you know how it all ended, subhanAllah, so much had happened in that time, and eventually some members of the Quraysh decided, we can't continue this anymore. Some rahmah, between them, they mutually agreed, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that this agreement that they've made that's inside the Kaaba, that's destroyed by little insects, like little ants, and that was true, and eventually it had to end. Subhanallah. And imagine going through this. You're already weakened. Your wealth has been weakened. Your family ties. You've been going through so much pain from your family. Sometimes when a family member doesn't give you a dawat, like they don't give you an invitation, and they give everyone else an invitation, we feel hurt. Imagine this. Your family members have kicked you out, and 3 years later they said you can come back. Look at the heart of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He forgives, and he's still giving them da'wah. He's still giving the rahmah. Look at the mercy. They're not held down for it. They're not held down to it. He doesn't go around telling them, look what you've done to me, look what you've done to us, look what you've done to us. And then he loses his wife. And then he loses his uncle, Abu Talib. Who is he losing? He's not just losing anyone. He's lost Abu Talib. When he loses Abu Talib, who was Abu Talib to him? Abu Talib was not just an uncle. He wasn't just a relative. He was the person who, despite his disbelief in Islam, despite the fact that he never accepted Islam, he was the one who defended Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was the one, the barrier. Because of him, out of respect to him, the Quraysh could never attack him physically. They would use verbal abuse. They will call him a liar. They will call him all sorts. They will, stop other people from believing in him. But they couldn't do anything to him physically. And as soon as Abu Talib dies, and then Khadija radiallahu anha dies, imagine now Abu Talib is his, Allah used him as a protection for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then Khadija radiallahu anha was the support, his comfort, the mother of his children. At this time when he needs to support her the most, almost like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, now you need to be alone. Because something big is going to come. Something great is coming. Grief upon grief. You've lost two of your biggest supports. Whenever he was in distress, whenever he was going through the hardest times, who did he go to? Who was there for him? Who helped him with all the wealth? her wealth, everything she helped him with, supported him. And that was gone. And can you imagine the intensity of his sorrow? And this is why this year, the ulama have named that year as the year of grief, the year of sorrow. Because this year really was one of deep, deep pain for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And what did the Quraysh do? They increased the persecution of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Imagine this. In that time, he just lost his most beloved. That's the time when you support people the most. You couldn't expect that from them. The persecution, the physical persecution increased. So much so that they would throw things in his path. They would go to, to extents to put the intestines of animals on him when he's praying. He's filthy. This is our Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the most beloved of Allah, and he's going through this. And we can't imagine how intense his pain must have been that his own people, this is not just anyone, it's just his, on the road, it's just his own people, his own beloved blood ties are doing this to him. And he's lost his life partner, his soulmate. He has young children, young girls he's bringing up by himself now. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and you know, this ayat are just amazing because it reminds us that inna ma'al usri yusra, inna ma'al usri yusra, for indeed with hardship will be ease, relief. Indeed with hardship will be ease. Because what happened next? Pain upon pain upon pain upon pain. Just imagine this. This is just escalating. It's just gone to a peak now. These people are torturing their own people, and Nabi Sallam has to look for help outside. Now he needs to look for somewhere to go because it's just going to get worse. Their intent is to destroy him, to kill him, because now they're not going to tolerate him anymore. And then the journey of Ta'if comes. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam goes on this journey to Ta'if in the hope. You all know the journey of Ta'if. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam goes on in the hope that the people of Thaqif, the tribe of Thaqif, they would accept and support him. They were also far relatives of the Quraysh. They were also far relatives. So in the hope that they will respect him. And they turn him away, they mock him, they laugh at him, they reject him, and not only do they insult him, as he's leaving, they tell their people, their children, to go after him and throw stones at him. This is totally, guys, we have to understand the mentality here. Everything that's happening here, the torture, the insults, all of this is so against the character. This was so against the character of the Quraysh. This was so against the character of the Arabs. They were doing this to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, our beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's not just a story, it happened. Recently, Nabi Sallam just lost his family, he's lost his wife, he's lost his uncle, he's lost his protection, his support, looking for support elsewhere, and then he finds himself in that position where he's being stoned and blood is falling from head to his toes, to the extent that the blood gets stuck onto his sandals and sticks. And even then, what does Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say? The dua that he makes. He doesn't, what does he feel at that time? What does he say? He doesn't complain so much about the people, but listen to what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, girls. It's so beautiful that he just sums up that even though we go through so much hardship, that there is something about connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we need to remember, that when we connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then something goes wrong, how should we react? Nabi Sallallahu teaches us in every action of his how we should be. And this is what Nabi Sallallahu, the dua he said. He leaves Taif and he goes to one of the gardens and he sat down and he's resting, because obviously he's just gone through. Imagine if you've been pelted with stones and you're bleeding and it's gone out, and he sat down for a moment. And this is a moment of reflection and making du'as to Allah. Oh Allah, to you do I complain. You know? He's complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to you do I complain of my weakness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what his weakness is. He's telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's doing his shikayat, he's doing his complaint direct to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, little resource and lowliness before men, O most merciful of those who show mercy. You are the Lord of the weak, and you are my Lord. To whom will you leave me? To a far-off stranger who will mistreat me, or to an enemy to whom you have granted power over me? If you are not angry with me, I care not. Just think about this phrase for a moment, direct from the words of Nabi Sallam. If you are not angry with me, I care not. He is bleeding head to toe, insulted, in pain, and he's saying to Allah, if you are not angry with me, I cannot. But your favor is better for me. At this moment, it doesn't matter as long as you are pleased with me, Allah. I seek refuge in the light of the countenance by which the darkness is illuminated, and the things of this world and the next are set right. Lest your anger descend upon me, or your wrath light upon me. Again, he is the Nabi of Allah, the most beloved of Allah, yet he is afraid that I'm going through this. I'm going through this. But Allah, it's okay as long as you're not upset with me. As long as it's not your anger. No? It is you whom we beseech until you are well pleased. There is no power, no strength except in you. In all of that, this dua was just, sorry guys, this dua just takes us back to the understanding that when Nabi Sallam was going through this, he wasn't blaming and he wasn't cursing and he wasn't angry just at the people. He's taken inside. He was looking at himself that, have I done something wrong? Allah, are you pleased with me? As long as you are pleased with me, Allah, it doesn't matter. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. That as long as Allah, you are happy with me, it doesn't matter what I go through. And I'm going to, I want you to remember this part when we come to the Mi'raj, that what is the ultimate gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He's gone through this and then he's come back to from Taif. When he comes back, he's refused entry. He refused entry. He needs somebody to give him protection. You know, he's come to this point where he doesn't even have the right to come back home. And the Muslims are going through this. And Nabi Sallallahu was not from the weakest of tribes. He was from the strongest of tribes. And this was happening to him. Imagine the other Sahabis, radiallahu anhum. They're going through so much hardship. But one thing that sticks out is that their iman was so strong. It's because their belief in Allah was so strong. When your belief is so deep-rooted, nothing can shake you. So then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one night, soon after this, Nabi Sallallahu gone through, you can imagine, this is like pain upon pain upon pain, grief upon grief upon grief. And Nabi Sallallahu going through this, he's still connected with Allah, but he's feeling that burden, like, I'm rejected, my people don't care about me. You know, I'm going through this. He's going through this restraint, you know, there's the grief. His comforter, she's gone. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him the ultimate gift, the gift of a lifetime. This is like, you know, one thing you can't even dream of having. And that night, he was taken on the night journey from Makkah to Masjid al-Aqsa, and from there he ascended into the heavens. Happened all in one night. In one night. In body and soul. Not just his soul. And it's not impossible for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do anything. Just because we live in a world where physics and science and all of this is the way we understand. For Allah, He can pause any minute. If about 100 years ago somebody was to say, you know what, the scholar is going to speak and we're going to watch him, we're going to listen to him later on, everyone will ask, how? You know, it's happening now, how are we going to listen to it later on? But nowadays, subhanAllah, recorded, we listen. It's a reality, it can happen. Things change, things that we can't imagine happen. If at the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, somebody would describe a television, they would think that's, what are you talking about? That's unreal, that's impossible. If somebody was to say that you could go from UK to, from London to Jeddah within 6 hours, or less, depending on what flight you take. They say that's impossible. They laugh at you. So for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing is impossible. If he created them, if he can create the mind that made this, obviously he can stop the time, he can do anything. So that time Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taken, and I'm going to go over this very quickly because I want to go over the beautiful insights we can take, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this night as a greatest gift, not only to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam but to us. I'll send you the slides to the dua as well, inshallah, in the group. Just remind me after the class, please, inshallah, after the session. So this happened in body and soul. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was taken on this night by Jibreel alayhi salam on a buraq. So this was an animal. And it was a very special animal that he could, travel extremely fast. And these are animals that we can't imagine, because they're the ones that Allah's reserved for the hereafter. Inshallah, we will enter Jannah and we see these spectacular animals and the spectacular things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us. And then we have Nabi Sallam goes and he sees on his way things that we can't, and I'm not going to go over each thing individually, girls, but certain examples and certain things that is just reinforcing Iman, reinforcing his message, reinforcing that, look, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going through, this is what you've got to look forward to. This is what your ummah will get. This is a reality. This is a vision that you're going to have. This is what your ummah is being saved from. This. And then when he goes to meet the prophets, if you read the lives of the prophets, and if you go over the tafsir of, just say Surah Yusuf, for example, you can imagine just from those examples, and this examples of Yusuf alayhi salam and his examples, that they were strength for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that if the prophets of the past had been through this, what about us? What about me? What I'm going through, they've been through, and look where they are now. It was just the uplifting of the Iman, uplifting of the soul, that spirituality, that we need to remember that inna ma'al usri yusra, there was hardship will come. The hardship is not going to be easy, but the ease is promised to us. And ease can come in two ways. One is when you embrace the hardship and you face it and you connect with Allah and say, oh Allah, you are the one who gave me the hardship. Oh Allah, you are the one who will give me the solution. The solution will come, inshallah, with dua. We make du'as, we look for solution, we are active, we make changes. But the first part of that is when our hearts are connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. And what was that gift that was given to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He goes and he meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of all the gifts that can be given to him, of all the gifts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have given him, all the people are going to be forgiven no matter what. Go. I'm going to give you this thing. Whoever you're going to talk to, they'll get hidayat. They'll get guided. Whoever hears this message will instantly get accepted. The Quraysh will overnight become believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him something that is so much more important and more powerful. He gives him Salah. So what is Salah, girls? Why was Salah so important? Salah is that connection. It is that it's that connection between a person and Allah. It's like the Mi'raj. It's our personal Mi'raj between us and Allah. Salah is a Mi'raj of the believer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the opportunity to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day, 5 times a day, as if we are meeting Him. What's more beautiful than that? We do find that the Salah is a burden, then we need to look within. Is there something that's missing? Is there something why I'm stuck? Do I need to educate myself? What is my Salah? If Salah was the gift, it's like the Salah was like the balm, you know, the medicine that was given to the Prophet ﷺ. You've gone through so much and you're going to go through so much, but look, you've got something. You've got something that's so beautiful, and you know this is going to be the balm. This is going to be the thing that's going to help you along your journey. Big things were to come, but it was given as a gift, not just a duty. Okay, girls. Is there anything any of the girls want to talk about? Because I can talk about Salah. I can talk discuss about all these things, but I'm aware of the time. Because I'm not going through the whole entire story of Isra and Miraj today, but inshallah, we'll leave that for another time. Anything you guys want to discuss? I'm not putting putting us in the breakout room today. So if anyone's got anything to share, any insights you had from today?
I think we could give them a bit of time. They can share in the WhatsApp group, but I think subhanallah, it's amazing. We don't really. Can you hear me, sis?
Yeah, there's an echo. I'm not sure why.
Let me. I was just thinking what you were saying right at the end about Salah, and I think sometimes we don't realize how. I mean, yeah, it can be a burden to some people, but we do value it. But we just don't realize how it was meant to be a medicine. Like it came at a time to our Prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I think there's an echo there, so I might leave it to somebody else to say. But the fact that it came it's so important because of the way it came. You know, after our Prophet went through so much, it's so inspiring, his story. But after he went through so much, and it came as a relief. You know, Salah is a relief. You know.
Yeah.
And when you're truly connected in Salah, I mean, I know. You know, sometimes us mothers, you know, we struggle to really focus on Salah. But I know at night when I pray Tahajjud, or when I really connect, the peace that comes is just subhanallah, you know. And I realized today why it's such a relief, because it came as, like you said, as medication, like almost as a balm to, because we all have tests and trials, even the little ones. And what you said as well about how we need to look for the ease. Sometimes when we're in our problem, we're so focused on the problem that we can't even see the ease that's within the problem, or even we lose hope of the ease because we're so focused on the ease. We need to tie a camel. We can't help the fact that we're going to have hardship, that's part and parcel of life. But, you know, we need to look for the ease. And you find that in, you know, one of the ways, like you said, is you find that in Salah. Subhanallah.
Allah, yeah. But Allah tests the believers. Allah promises that He will test us as believers. You know, if we have Iman, we'll be tested. And it's a test is not easy. There's got to be a certain form of difficulty in that. You know, because when we go through hardship, we think that's the end. You know, like somebody wants, well, there's so many examples to give, but when we're going through hardship, this example, when we lose a family member, we find it so difficult. But if we really, really find it difficult, turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make du'as for them. Just for, like, we want to enter Jannah, make du'as for them, because at least they were Muslim. And I didn't even touch on the topic of how Nabi Sallallahu went through so much pain because his uncle did not become a Muslim. And he was making du'as until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayah to stop making du'as. You can't make du'as for mushrik, polytheists after they have died. And imagine his pain on that. And we go through that. And I know it's difficult, you know, for us, for those of us who have gone through losses, but we have to make that loss into a gain. Because when the more we hurt, the more we remember them, the more we're able to make du'as for them. And I always say, if the more you miss a person, that shows it's a good sign. That means you never forget them. You always make du'as for them. So it's okay to feel the loss. You know, some people say, so why can't I get it out of my heart? That's an opportunity for you to tell to Allah.
I think we were talking was it this morning or yesterday, and I mentioned my mum, didn't I? And I said it's been nearly 10 years, and I still miss her on certain things, even like talking about food, and I think about her, but it took me a while, but just reflecting, realize what she meant to me and how she brought me closer to the deen, the way that in itself is a ni'mah. And the fact that, you know, I have hope, we as Muslims, we have hope that there's Jannah. I can pray for her akhirah, and I can pray that we will one day meet again, you know. That in itself, that hope in itself helps with the grief. And that dua is so, like, that dua we can make when we are connecting to Allah.
Yeah.
That in itself is a relief from that grief, you know. But we get so caught up on the hurt, and it's okay to feel the hurt. It's okay to feel the hurt. That's now Allah gave that hurt to us, but use that hurt to connect to Allah, to earn your akhirah and the akhirah of whoever you've lost.
And we have,
you know, you're the if you're a child, you're the sadaqah jariyah, you know. We can talk about this for so long.
Yeah. I think a couple of sisters put in the chat. So shall I read them out?
Yeah. Go. I can read it. You read it, then go.
Okay. So it was good reflection when you told that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saw the prophets who went through so much and now they're in Jannah. It was so consoling for him. Subhanallah. Exactly. Just inshallah, when we go into this in depth, you'll understand that how each prophet had a significance in why and how they were there to console Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this whole Mi'raj was just not just an event, it was there after, or the aftermath of all of that pain as a consolation to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Like, look, you've got this, this happened. Things will get better. It might look so bad, but look what you have. And the whole of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life is like that for us. The Sahabis' life is like that for us. Look, they went through this. They went through worse. I know what we're going through right now is difficult sometimes. And it's okay to feel it's difficult. It's okay to feel that it's hard. It's okay to feel like parenting is really hard. It's okay. We just need to see how to change that difficulty into ease in our minds. And Sister Nunisa said, Allah is merciful, and even when we sin, we are still encouraged to pray and never leave Salah. We need to make it the number one priority in our life. Everything else will fall into place. Exactly. And I remember this Umar radiallahu anhu, the saying Umar radiallahu anhu said that indeed the most important of your affairs to me is a prayer. Whoever maintains it and watches over it will maintain his religion. Whoever is negligent of it will be even more negligent over other things. And it's usually when something goes wrong, we are told, look within yourself. Look, is there something wrong with your salah? And that is so powerful. I was telling this to my class as well, that we go through so many instances. We, see a class that we go through certain weak moments, and sometimes our salah, isn't as good as we'd like it to be. And then we have problems, and then we don't realize, but we need to turn and look at our salah. We need to look at our salah. Is there something wrong? Am I making my salah as if my wudu is going to break in a moment? Or am I making my salah, am I praying my salah like this is something that Allah loves and I love it for the sake of Allah? It's difficult for me. It's hard, maybe it's difficult because you've got your children on your back. They're so loud. They're throwing things. I've got a little toddler who throws things on my head. At the moment, he's going through a phase, but, we go through so many different phases in our lives. Are we looking at that hardship and looking at it and finding the ease in that moment? That, what, this is the hardship Allah's given me, but I am going to enjoy this moment with Allah, even though the toy is raining over me. And that's where we need to be. We need to find that love for Salah. And to find a love for something, we need to understand it. We need to know how important it is in our lives. We need to know its significance. We need to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. And obviously I can talk forever. It's nearly 11 o'clock. So if anybody wants to unmute and add something before we leave. Any other sisters who want to say anything? Any of your insights?
I just thought what you said about the time of Salah being our own mi'raj was so powerful, and inshallah, hopefully when I'm praying next time, I will think of it like that. I just thought that was a really good.
SubhanAllah. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when my teacher first said that, and I was like, wow, this is my moment. Like we've done a story with Isra and Miraj, and my teacher said that to me. I was like, when you first hear this, and no matter how many times you hear it, it's not just once, by the way, these reminders are so necessary regularly. So even if you've gone through the Sirah and you've learnt it, go over again and again and again, because every time it will touch you deeper. And for me, that's the same thing. Like you said, Fahia, that moment when you think that this is my mi'raj with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is my connection, this is my direct, and there's nothing in between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing in between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we're just me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. Beautiful is that.
Very beautiful, mashallah.
We don't need anyone else. We don't need anyone else. We just have Allah. Isn't that? Inna ma'al usri yusra. We have our ease because we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's one of the promises that He will give us ease.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khairan, really good session.
And Jazakumullah khair everyone for joining us. It was lovely. seeing you girls join. I know everyone's really busy, but do share in the chat your reflections, inshallah, and I will end with a dua. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think my phone was not working. I was listening you, but you couldn't hear me.
Okay.
I'm Zubeda, Sister
Okay.
Zubeda, and I have learned from this Ramzan that we couldn't go, the boys and my sons couldn't go to the mosque, and we were praying together. And I realized that my 9 years and my 6 years daughter, they were praying with us, and my son was leading the prayer, and he was reading and he had made the mistake, and the boy corrected. The next Salah, the girl the girl did the correction. I was surprised. After finishing, I told my daughter-in-law that what we were doing, because I was teaching for 40 years. And how I thought, I couldn't believe myself. And I'm doing Arabic for so long, and I understand Quran so much. But now as we are at home, you know, the children, when they read the Salah from that day, what I did, they are doing also hifz. Are you listening?
Yeah, mashallah, tabarak.
Can you listen?
Yeah, of course.
So I what I did, I told them to pray, because when they were praying with us also, but moving, you know. So I said, I will, and my son was angry with them. So I said, don't. Now they will pray. I will sit behind and follow the Quran. So sister, I started that one, but I believe that I understood my mistake, and the children also pray so nicely, because they have learned now. We have learned. So I improved myself, and now for Zohor, Asr, Maghrib, and Isra, I pray. My time is going, but I enjoy so much praying. And when they are doing, I look the meaning of English also. But I knew the Arabic also a little bit, but now I can understand so much. I can't believe that it is not that we must pray by ourselves. We don't know the meaning, anything. And the meaning, I know hifz is very good, but meaning is more important. So I was trying to speak, but I couldn't make it. Now I fought it. Alhamdulillah. So please just try this one, and you will see. And you know, when we are praying together, you know, no noise, nothing, you know, nobody can disturb us. And when sometimes somebody comes, then I want to, we go in one room with children, but I don't leave the children without praying. And I tell them that I'm learning from you, because I'm now 78 years old, and I am forgetting. I've got so many problems. So they also think that Ma likes it. They sometimes they say, now we will, because they want to do fast. Quran is not read fast. The meaning changes.
Yes.
Jazakallah, sister.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. May Allah accept all your efforts, mashallah.
Yes. I'm Sister Zubeda. I think your mom knows me, because in Pakistan, when I went, I came to your mother's house when she went for Hajj, and even she comes sometime tooting, and you know, Karstan. So I was attending the classes. But our teacher was Sadia. She has taught us so much, you know, and open our eyes. Nice to see you. All right, give your salam to your mom. She must not remember me, but I know her very well.
Oh, I think you've got different sister, but yeah, inshallah. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Well, that's beautiful reflection, mashallah, that she's really, sister's really working with the children and learning the Quran, and you know, focusing on understanding the Quran as well, in for Salah as well. It's really important, subhanAllah. So when we understand the importance of Salah, then we can understand the importance of understanding and the khushu in Salah. And then we can develop ourselves and move forward, inshallah. So never, you know, every day is a learning journey. Every moment is a moment to learn. And we need to take that in our stride, inshallah. Okay, Jazakumullah khair, girls, and inshallah we will end with the dua now. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. آمين يا رب العالمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.